evening, everybody. Welcome to the 11th and best episode of the Hashcast. And tonight we're doing the mandatory E3 Roundup show, and I invited some cool guests. As always, the guests are cooler than myself, but here they are. We have John. John, how are you, man?
You said cool guests. Why is Finn here?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that same question.
Well, usually I save that kind of snark for Steven, but he didn't even show up today, so...
That's why I am here to plug the hole left in his absence.
In his absence. I like it. Welcome back, John. You've been here several times. And your other cohort, Finn, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just happy I was here at the start of one of your shows for once.
And not dialing without a shirt on from your car. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're basically doing the Super Deformed Gamescast, except I'm hosting tonight because you're all from the same place.
Hey.
But it's gonna be good. So, like I said, it's the E3 roundup. E3 was last week or this week, I guess. We're still Saturday. There's a lot to cover. So instead of doing the deep dives and regurgitating what we've been saying all week, we're gonna do a quick fire round of likes and yikes. So what I want from you guys is 2 likes and a yike from all the press conference, and we'll just go through them in chronological order, I suppose. Just for the record, John, you and I, we streamed some press conferences, so we already did some live commentary. But Finn was actually in LA last week on the floor and at the Microsoft press conference, I believe. So he'll get the real inside info on some of those things. So, without further ado, we're going to go straight into EA. Finn, I'm going to start with you. I want to hear 2 likes and a yike on EA.
Okay. The 2 likes are Sea of Solitude, just was amazing, and I loved her enthusiasm and just earnestness on stage.
Yeah.
It's been one of my favorite things of EA's conferences of the past few years is their focus on their one big indie game.
Mm-hmm.
And this one looks like it's definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah.
My other like is going to be the look at Anthem gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But then that dovetails into my yikes, which is the fact that they announced it's coming out in February, but still don't have faith in their game to have any form of playable demo either on the floor or behind closed doors for journalists. Like, there's just nothing, and it really makes me feel like February is not going to happen.
No, that sounds very, very close if you don't have anything right now. But you never really know. Before we're gonna dive into that more specifically, because I also have some things to say, of course. John, what are you 2 likes and your yikes?
I only have 1 like the EA conference because I thought it was an overall very weak presentation.
Mm-hmm.
It was not just Sea of Solitude, but what Cornelia Gebert said on stage when she was talking about the game as somebody who deals with generalized anxiety and has his entire life and deals with multiple physical symptoms along with mental symptoms because of it. That right there really just summed up to me what I love about games and the therapeutic nature that this medium can hold for people. And I love to see that kind of passion and just dedication to one's place in the industry. And right there is, I mean, that moment is, I had no idea what Sea of Solitude was until that moment. And now it's a day one for me because of her.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I thought the conference was an absolute snore fest.
So that's your yike, the absolute snore fest?
Yeah, I thought Anthem was, it did absolutely nothing for me.
No. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'll drop mine and then we can give it a little bit more thought. So I think we're all gonna agree on Sea of Solitude. So here's something cool. I've been friends with Cornelia for like quite some time. I had no idea that she was going to be on stage.
That's incredible.
That was a very, very pleasant surprise. And just seeing her take that deep breath, and then once that passion kicked in, like she kept going. That was just fantastic to see. So I'm going to have some conversations with her, and I'm going to see if I can get her on the show. But yeah, that was definitely but let's be honest, guys. Our friend Andrea, she did a killer ass job on that presentation.
She killed it. That you know what? That's my other like. She really did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
you know what? That's a very good point. I can't believe I didn't think about her as host.
Well, that's I think because we know her personally. Otherwise, it would probably be like a background when you think about Likes and Yikes. But like she did well. She talked it all together. Anthem, I think I have the same concerns. So I guess that would be my yike as well. My yikes, because like Finn said, February, no gameplay. Tricky. I still don't know exactly what that game's gonna do. I'm just not sure. But I thought I heard people talk about that it played well. But
they had a guided demo that you could see,
okay,
but nothing was playable. Like it plays like a more mobile Destiny.
Okay,
but it didn't really come off as different enough, I guess.
Okay. I was very surprised to see damage numbers on the demo.
Yeah, there was lots of those.
Yeah,
I did think of one more yike though. Whenever we're done.
Let's keep it to one because we got a lot of shows to go through. But maybe if we sneak in some more time. But you know what? Whatever. Lay it on us. We get out of the system.
Yeah. Well, it's because it was such a nothing. The Star Wars reveal.
Oh God, yeah.
Why even do that?
Yeah.
Literally nothing to show.
Yeah.
At that point, just show a quick 5-second teaser with the title on the screen, like Bethesda did.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to have them just have an interview in the audience and him go, "Hey, this is the name of our new game."
Yeah, that was very odd.
It was like, I mean, not even a screen, or I mean, that was probably the most disappointing. I mean, and the thing is all we learned is a name. Like we knew that Respawn is making a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
We already knew that. He literally is just a name. I would not, and this is probably a 2020 game. I'd be willing to imagine. I don't think it's a 2019 game. And yeah,
I'd even be wagered that it'll end up being a cross-gen.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, probably. Well, fair enough. We'll. I have other thoughts on some other press conferences with kind of the same thing, but I'll put us straight into Microsoft. Personally, I think it would be my favorite show. But it's not my turn. I'm going to start with you, John. But 2 likes and a yike for the Microsoft show. A lot to cover.
Yeah, so I'll try to sum it up as best I can. For likes, I thought that Microsoft's confidence,
mm-hmm.
I think, was they seemed like every E3 for them this generation has seemed like a stumble and a stumble and a stumble, and this feels like the first time this gen I've seen them find their footing, find their confidence, and say, here we are. And these are a bunch of reasons to buy our console. I don't feel like Microsoft has given anybody at E3 a compelling reason to own an Xbox One until now.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think there are. I think that's great. 2, getting a lot. Buying up studios like Undead Labs and Playground. I mean, it just makes sense, right? The only iffy thing about that for me is buying Ninja Theory. I'm a little, just because I'm not a huge fan of games being locked to one console. It's different for Undead Labs and Playground because they've only made Xbox games, but Ninja Theory is a little different. And my yike is absolutely not a single new IP from Microsoft.
Yeah.
And as good as our conference was good, I still think it's a big problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good list. I always mix up Ninja Theory with Team Ninja. So when I saw the announcement, I was like, "What? They bought Team Ninja?" And I was like, "Oh no, it's Ninja Theory." So the big difference there. Finn, what are you? You were there. You were in the show. You got leaves on your head.
Yes, I actually kept a leaf.
Of course you did.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
We were sat in the 5th row.
Yeah.
We were the first row that wasn't Xbox Fan Fest people.
Okay.
They got automatic the first 4 rows.
Mm-hmm.
So it was awesome. It was worth staying outside for a while. We had great seats. Phil Spencer and Major Nelson were filming right next to us. You could apparently see the backs of our heads at one point.
Awesome.
I mean, no,
I caught you guys during the conference, by the way. I was like, "Oh shit, there's Finn and Zach and Jay." Yeah.
Like it's crazy seeing these things in person and being swept up in the infectious like enthusiasm of the crowd. And it was also really cool because you could, a lot of times the audio is focused more on the front, so the fan fest crowd reactions transfer over more. But you could actually hear which games the audience were like super into and which ones they were more cool on.
Yeah.
But so my likes from a personal standpoint are seeing Ori and the Will of the Wisps in action. That game is my favorite game of the conference for Microsoft because I'm a huge fan of the first one and it delivered. And my second is going to be Gears 5. We pretty much knew it was coming, but it was still really nice to see in action. And it looks like a huge step up over Gears 4, which was probably the safest sequel that they've ever done. And then I guess my yikes would be Crackdown 3. Like the trailer, if you go back and watch it, it's so bombastic and tries to distract you with Terry Crews trying to be like Terry Crews that you don't realize that the game is, again, so tightly edited and focused that you can't actually see anything that's happening outside of the immediate character.
Yeah.
And this is another game like Anthem that it's technically coming out the same day, February 22nd. But again, after 5 years practically in development and coming out in a couple months, nothing playable on the floor. No. Nothing playable for press, not even a behind closed doors demonstration like Anthem. It was just absent. So it's not looking good for Crackdown 3.
It didn't look good either. When I saw the footage, I was like, oof.
And we still haven't seen the multiplayer.
Oh, you're super echoing, John.
Am I really? Wait, is it still happening? Okay. Oh, yeah, that was weird.
It looked like I was not super impressed, but we'll get to that. So for Microsoft, for me, two likes. Like John said, confidence. Like these guys are ramping up for an amazing next gen cycle. They are absolutely positioning themselves to take that market back from Sony next cycle. Lots of games. If they would have had this press conference in 2015, it would have been like, oh my goodness, Microsoft is the best thing ever. But every single time, they just cannot hold on to that win for more than 15 minutes, apparently, which is just a shame because they brought a good show. And like you said, John, there's no new IPs. Doesn't have to matter, I think, if you refresh what you have enough, but I think that's what they're setting themselves up for in the future. Another like I had from the show, it was, out of all the shows, it was very well presented. Like, it was a good show. And I think the Fan Fest helped with that when I was watching it. It was kind of funny because when it started and I hear like all the crowds, I was like firing up a tweet saying, oof, there are a little too many journalists in there that are a little too excited. And then I started talking, I was like, we have the Fan Fest. People are like, okay, delete, because that makes a lot more sense. But I think the energy did help to spike it up. So I'm glad to hear that was also in the crowd there, Finn. So just very well put together. They brought the games. Very confident. I think they're going to kick ass in the next cycle. The Yikes is the next cycle for me. Like, and Microsoft does this almost every year now, where they have a good showing and they're getting me there and buy an Xbox and then say, and the new Xbox is already in development. I was like, why did you just say that? Like, I was ready to buy that X and play it for 3 years, and then you're already telling me you're working on the next thing. So now I feel like, I guess I can wait. And they seem to do that every time. They did it with the S when they had the whole show about the Xbox One X. It's slightly better than the better one. New games coming out, blah, blah, and the Scorpio's in development. I was like, well, fuck, I'm going to wait. And I'm going to wait again. So that was kind of my yikes. Like, why did you mention that? Like, everybody knows it's going to happen, but don't say it in the press conference where you just try to sell me on the One X that is the best place to play. Really, guys, the best place. Like, it kind of gets repetitive. So yeah, that was too bad. But overall, best put together a show, and in fact, they showed like 50 games. That's nuts. Like if Sony would have done that this year or last year, everybody would have lost their minds. But Microsoft can't hold on to the win, and it's just unfortunate because they're doing great work.
Yeah, and I'll just real quick. I think if there had been some kind of a incredible looking new IP shown there with like a 2019 release date, this might have been one of the best E3 conferences ever.
Yeah, I agree. But it's the new IPs that count nowadays, right?
Yeah, for a lot of people, yeah.
So we'll go straight into that was the Sunday. No, we have Saturday, Sunday, and then we have Sunday night Bethesda. I'll give it to you, John. Start me off with Bethesda. We streamed this live, I think. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So 2 likes and a yike. I liked everything I saw about Rage 2. I think Rage 2 looks fantastic, and that's a game I can't wait for. Another like, more Wolfenstein is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm totally in for that. And a yike. Honestly, announcing Elder Scrolls 6.
No, that was my yikes too.
That was your yike too?
Yeah.
Yeah, like and there are reaction videos of people watching the conference screaming, "Oh no!" And I'm like, you're not going to be playing it for 8 years.
Yeah, no,
you can pre-order it, and I'm just like, why? Like that game. Todd Howard came up with that trailer last week on his phone, and it even used music from Skyrim. So the game is nowhere. So yeah, I don't see the point, and especially for a company renowned for announcing games and then releasing them the same year.
Yeah.
Or within 6 months. I'm like...
Actually, I have a theory about that. Zach and I were talking about that. We have a theory.
Okay, we'll go straight to you then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to talk about the theory or my likes and yikes?
No, let's start with your likes and yikes, and then we'll get into the theory.
My 2 likes are... I really enjoy it. It's kind of a copycat of John's. So instead of saying Rage and Wolfenstein, I'll say Wolfenstein for the surprise factor that you're not going to play as BJ again. You're going to play as his twin daughters.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, and you're going to get a co-op experience. And then my other one will be, even though it was also kind of a nothing trailer, I'm really excited about the idea of more Doom. So Doom Eternal made me happy. And my yike is going to be both Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 being announced with nothing more than a title screen. Yeah. Because the fact that they used next gen with Starfield and it's coming out first means that's not going to be coming out till it's 2020, 2021, which means Elder Scrolls is a couple years past that, and it's silly to do that. Yeah. But I mean, my theory is I don't think Bethesda is going to have a conference next year. I think they announced Starfield and Elder Scrolls to kind of get it out of the way that they're coming. And then the games they announced this year are going to hold them over until the next press conference when we get Starfield being kind of shown alongside the next gen reveals.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Makes sense. I get super echo from you guys.
Oh yeah, you're bad.
I don't hear any echo from you guys, so maybe I'm just crazy.
I'm echoing too. That was weird.
I'll be right back. I have to get something real quick.
All right. So I'll get onto my my likes and yikes for Bethesda. I'm not the biggest fan of Bethesda games, not because I don't like them, but just I somehow don't get around to them. I haven't played a Bethesda game since Skyrim or Fallout, but it was a decent show. I was very I wouldn't say impressed, but I really liked what I saw about Rage because I had no feelings about the game before the press conference started. Looks solid. Looks like a solid shooter. So I might actually check it out, even though I play shooters usually for maybe 2 weeks. If it has a single player, I'll go through that and then kind of drop out on the multiplayer. So that was a solid show for a game that got spoiled that hard ahead of time. The other thing that I really liked, and when we were live streaming, I was like, oh, this again, because I thought it was the exact same video as they used last year, but it was once we started watching it, it was something new. Is the opening that they do to show that human beings make video games, and I think that is a very nice way to open a press conference. because we tend to forget that every now and then that there's people, and not just
Yeah.
coders and creative directors who get to be on stage, with a lot of people behind video games. So that was very nice to see. Yeah, and I guess I'll triple down on the whole Skyrim, or almost call it Skyrim 6 or Elder Scrolls 6 thing, because it's just come on, like that is
I don't
not an
understand.
announcement.
I don't understand.
No, that is just. I think they didn't want to end on a mobile game, and they were like, "Oh, here's the big thing you've all been waiting for." Like, it doesn't do anything for me. Getting excited about that is like getting excited for we're gonna have dinner tomorrow. Yeah, of course we are.
Yeah, we're having meatloaf tomorrow.
It's the weekend again next week. Like, yay!
Yeah.
And so that was kind of odd, but overall, good show. They still had some refills. I like their self-awareness, but holy shit, did Todd ever go off script for the longest time about talking about E3 and the first time? It was a little much, but whatever. It was a decent show. Like, after coming off of Microsoft, I think volume-wise it might have been a little disappointing for some people, but good enough. Good enough.
I'm back.
All right, that's good, because we're going straight into the biggest show of E3, the Square Enix USB stick that they sent.
Oh, you mean Microsoft 2.0?
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically. The second time we get to watch Kingdom Hearts. I'll just kick this off because I'm in Sark mode. Oh dear Lord, man. I like Tomb Raider. It's a solid game. I think they're gonna do well with that game. I had to watch this press conference on fast forward because I couldn't get in time, so I was like 10 minutes behind, and then I watched everything real quick. But still, it looked pretty solid. Actually, you know what? Even though Kingdom Hearts had their big reveal, I guess, at the Microsoft stage, I am getting interested in the game, and I have never played a Kingdom Hearts game before, and I think that is quite impressive. So I might give it a try. And
honestly, I would love to see you play it just to get someone who's never touched Kingdom Hearts' perspective on if they can actually follow what's going on.
Yeah, so that's what I was worrying about. But then when I started talking to people, they're like, you know what? I've played the games and I still don't know what's going on, so I don't think you'll miss that much. And it looks like a game I can play and have my kid watch and not have her send into nightmare mode. And
I mean, that's true.
I mean, it looks like a solid game. Like, hey man, they show me Elsa in the video game. I'm 100% on board. And the Yikes, I think it was just. I'm not sure if it needed to be there. I think they could have outsourced some of their bigger stuff on bigger conferences. But maybe they tried and Sony just didn't want to do it because they had their own weird show. But it felt a little lackluster, which is unfortunate because they had a lot there potentially. Like, I don't want to go into like, oh, they didn't show Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
But the biggest yikes, I think, not having Adventures there. Everybody knows it's coming.
Because why else would they call for a press conference?
Exactly. Like, that would have been their new big thing. Because, well, maybe you guys want to touch on this, because Tomb Raider is a big title. But how about you, John? What are your thoughts?
It does nothing for me. I feel like it's too dark and it's too grim for me. Like I these types of games like Uncharted. I love Uncharted because it's action packed stuff like that, but it's also a little lighthearted. Nathan is a kind of an irreverent character. He's witty, and Lara just comes off as, quite honestly, to me, just like a psychopath in this game.
Oh yeah, she's a total psychopath in this game.
And I'm just like, no, like I just no, it doesn't. This doesn't. This doesn't seem like a Tomb Raider game, or it doesn't feel like classic Tomb Raider. It just it feels like. You remember that movie I Spit on Your Grave?
No.
It's about a woman who was abused by a bunch of guys in the jungle, and then she just goes around and slaughters every single one of them in the darkness. And I thought of that. This trailer made me think of that movie, and I was like, I just it's fine. It's fine to be able to kill people in the game. I got no problem with that. It's a video game. It's fiction, right? But this just came off as Lara being incredibly sociopathic and psychotic than anything else. I was just like, it was just off-putting, and who knows? Maybe it's not representative of the entire game, but it just. But at the same time, it just really it was off-putting for me.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, is that the fact that it's not representative, because they had a press demo and a playable demo, and huge chunks of the game are very traditional feel, or have that feel to it, but that's what they chose to showcase. Yeah. So that's what most people are basing their impressions on. So John has a very valid point. It's like last year with Last of Us's incredibly gory trailer with no context. It's like, of course, there's going to be more to the game than that, but that's what you chose.
But see, that I didn't have a problem with that, because that to me is a believable representation of how a completely lawless society would act. You know, like that to me, as brutal as it was that is what I expect a completely, or just a society without zero law or zero empathy whatsoever would act. I would expect that. So this coming from a character like Lara is just incredibly off-putting to me.
Yeah. No. So I played some of this back in February when they did the official reveal, and they're going all out with her, like, not being super nice.
She just doesn't give a fuck in this game.
No. And I talked to the lead writer on this, and they do it on purpose. Like, I think through most of this game, you are not supposed to like what you're doing. But it's gonna have to work gameplay wise, because otherwise people are going to put the controller down. But
yep, I have no plans on picking the game up as of right now.
So we'll see. That is coming September 7, I think. So I don't think we'll see much more of what we've seen now. So marketing not working for you, John. That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
What did you have anything you liked, or did you go straight to the Yike there?
I went straight to the Yike there.
Straight to the yeah. All right, fair enough.
As far as the rest of the conference goes, and this is the Square Enix conference, I thought it was overall the weakest conference of the entire of E3. I don't. Kingdom Hearts, I mean, okay, like Kingdom Hearts looks great. Aside from that, it just didn't do it. I didn't find anything exciting or interesting. There was no Final Fantasy VII remake. There was no. I mean, it was just a big wet fart for me. I thought it was incredibly boring and uninteresting, and just a total whiff in almost every direction.
Yeah, I think if you are a Final Fantasy XIV player, it was a great conference. Because they have
which I am not.
No, true. But like Monster Hunter in Final Fantasy XIV, cool.
Why?
But like Capcom is just splurging all over the place with their IPs, and the behemoth in Monster Hunter is going to be cool. But that wasn't in the press conference. That was just leaked after that. But how about you, Finn? Did you have any counterbalance there?
Yeah. I loved, even though we already know it's coming out soon, I love the Dragon Quest XI trailer. So I'm a big fan of that game. I'm very excited for that. And what else? I think that was probably my highlight of the Square Enix show. Although I am excited that they announced 2 new IPs, both Babylon's Fall and Quiet Man. We don't know much about them yet, but you know what? Another collaboration with Platinum is going to be most likely awesome. And The Quiet Man made me think of The Bouncer, and I really like The Bouncer on PS2. So I'm kind of down with both of those right out the gate.
I have a lot of questions about that reveal of The Quiet Man, because it seemed to go from live action to PlayStation 2 graphics real quick. And I'm not sure if the live action part is actually part of the game, like in game, or if that was like commercial and then switched. Like,
sure.
I have no idea what that's going to be.
I'm very confused as well.
Yeah.
And my yike is the fact that this press conference would have been a lot better had Microsoft not gone first, because I counted. Where is it? Square Enix. There we go. Tomb Raider, Captain Spirit, Kingdom Hearts 3, Just Cause 4, and there was a fifth game that I'm blanking on, but all of them were shown at Microsoft's conference and then re-shown again at Square Enix's conference, and it kind of just took a lot of the momentum out of it. Like, if all of those trailers had debuted at their show, we'd be singing a different tune, but it's like 60% of what they showed we'd already seen the day before.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird that they would do that.
Yeah,
but
I think I think Microsoft just brought bags and bags of money because they also showed Fallout 76 first, and then Bethesda did the recap on that. So I'm not sure if that why they chose to do it, but I agree that was very strange. There's really not much to say about the Square Enix. It was short. It was if you had interest in what they showed, then it was great. Otherwise, not much to see there that we did already see at Microsoft.
Right.
So that was the Sunday, and then Monday is when the my favorite show, Ubisoft. Finn, I'm gonna give it straight back to you so you can keep going. What do you think of the Ubisoft show?
I liked it. But then again, I always enjoy Ubisoft shows. Mm-hmm. They usually do a great job of showcasing, because I like the Ubisoft formula, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I like that their press conferences have probably the most amount of gameplay on average of other companies. Mm-hmm. And I usually really enjoy their one more thing big reveal. Yeah. And speaking of that, that's my yikes, is that this year did not get one. There was no surprise end of show, like, here's Splinter Cell, here's Watch Dogs 3, here's a big new IP we're debuting. There was no, like, here's the way we're going to end the show on a grand, in a grand way. It was just kind of, and that's our show. And it's unlike them, because they've done that, like, one more thing reveal the past 5-6 years.
I'm almost certain Odyssey was supposed to be the one more thing.
Right, but unfortunately that got so. And yeah, it's rough. But again, with Assassin's Creed, it's kind of hard to have it be the one more thing, because it's an expected appearance at their show. It's like being surprised a new Just Dance got shown off at the conference.
But at the same time, like, they skipped a year, so we kind of also assumed that they were going to do that again, right? But fair enough. Yeah.
My first like will be seeing what we saw for Beyond Good and Evil 2, getting that glimpse of Jade. Mm-hmm. I think this is another next-gen game. I don't think we're seeing this anytime soon. So, womp womp. And then I'm going to say something a little controversial, because I know John doesn't share his opinion, but I enjoyed The Division, so I like The Division 2's gameplay reveal. I hate semi-yikes, but they once again brought back the canned, stilted gamer chat during the demo, but I thought what they showed was really intriguing, even if it didn't really seem like much of an upgrade. It's like Destiny 2. It just felt like a glorified expansion, but you know what? It looked fun and felt good.
That's good. Well, John, anything to say on that one?
Yeah, I guess my two likes would be the Donkey Kong DLC for Mario Plus Rabbids, because I love Mario Plus Rabbids, and this looks meaty and fun, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Just a couple weeks now. My other like would be Starlink, because I think Starlink looks really cool. Mm-hmm. The addition of Fox McCloud as a character, piloting an R-Wing, pretty much guarantees that I'm going to pick it up. And for my yikes, I'll say Beyond Good and Evil 2 looks like absolutely nothing I want out of a Beyond Good and Evil sequel. So yeah, that would be. I'll keep it short and sweet. Those would be my two likes in the yike.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So for me, and I think I've tweeted about this. My absolute favorite moment, maybe of all of E3, was the hot mics at the Ubisoft show. After the Beyond Good and Evil, when those two, I'm not sure like if they're a couple or not. For some reason, I thought that their mics were still on, and you could hear like the release when they were like, "We nailed it! We nailed it!" It was just such a good moment. And again, it kind of touched upon the humans, the people behind the video game, and I really got a kick out of that. My second, like, I was absolutely intrigued by the new Assassin's Creed, and I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since Black Flag. So
Wow, yeah.
yeah,
For treat.
yeah. So and
That was
I
one of
hear
the
Origins is good, but yeah, super excited about the game for some reason. I love that they are all of a sudden not afraid to hit a little bit on mythology and some what seems like some supernatural stuff with the spear that gives you superpowers. They seem to be going straight into a Bioware slot with romance and dialogue trees. So I can't wait to see what game. It does help a little bit, I think, that some of the people I know that are working on that who have been lying to my face, like straight up lying to my face when I was hanging out and asked them what they were working on. They said they couldn't tell me. So I'll have to have them on as well.
There you go.
But no, I am excited about an Assassin's Creed game, and that is that's a big achievement. I am also excited about Beyond Good and Evil, but I haven't played the first one, so I'm not sure about if this is something I would want out of a sequel, like you say, John. But the world seems interesting to me, so I'll give it a shot. The Yikes. I had a good one just now. I kind of already forgot. That's too bad. But the whole hit record thing, like that kind of blew up in their face.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little strange. I see what they're trying to do. Like, yes, it's super cool. Here, put your artwork in our game. Like, that was a good pitch. But then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, but are you getting paid, or are just the best people getting paid? Like, I don't know. That's a slippery slope. I think they're gonna stand on. But you know what? At the other side, I bet there is thousands of people that do not care, because I see people making fan art for a whole bunch of stuff for free online all the time. And if you just want to do that, just do that. But you know, we operate in a business where working for exposure is often abused. So I hope they have a very good system in place for that. But I'm a little scared for a knee-jerk reaction on this, that it's going to be manipulative and exploitative, but it could definitely be. But hey man, if you want to make a cool poster in your own time and have a chance to beat in a game that you love, I don't think there should be too many hoops for you to jump through as well. So,
I agree.
Could go in either way. So that was Ubisoft. It was good. Overall, my favorite show. Just a lot of energy. I just really enjoy watching that show. Like I don't even call it a press conference. That's almost like a show. So lots of things that excited me there. Skulls and Bones, same thing. I can't wait to see that game, to see more of that game. Did you get to play any of that by any chance, man?
Which one?
Skull and Bones.
No, see, with Ubisoft, you had to invest a lot of time in the lines. Like each line would be upward to an hour and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was granted some Ubisoft Fast Passes, but unfortunately, you have to turn them in after each demo. So I was given 2, and I chose Assassin's Creed and I chose Division 2 because I wanted to see how they felt compared to their sequels.
Yeah.
So I chose to pass on Starlink and Skull and Bones.
Okay. Fair enough. I think the most controversial show of E3, the most divisive show, Sony PlayStation. John, I want to hear you first. What do you think of the Sony show? Was that a table you flipped, or just something that fell?
Something just fell down. So Sony show. So this is an interesting one, right? Obviously my yike. I'll start with the yikes.
Yeah.
That first 20 minutes of the show was just mind-numbingly painful to watch.
Yeah.
Finn, you really owe it. If you haven't watched it yet, you really owe it yourself to go back and watch that first 25 minutes because it was one of the most poorly paced pieces of video gaming content I have ever experienced.
Oh, it was. I saw it, and watching that intermission where they kept saying, "We just need a few more minutes. We're going to be ready in a few more minutes."
That was something else.
What they could have done is just have some of the trailers that ran later on, like RE2 Remake and stuff, play out until they were ready, and then boom, go on.
I would be stunned if they do that again next year. Because I don't think it was received well at all. It ruined the pace of the show. Wout was streaming with us, and the rest of us were just like, "What in the Oh my god, this is awful!" I literally, I got a text message from Susan while we were watching this, and because my phone buzzed, and I looked down, and I see this text message from Susan, and it says, I'll read it right here. She said, "John, what the fuck is this bullshit?" That's what she said, and it was bad all around. As far as my likes go, there was plenty to like at this conference, and my first like was Resident Evil 2 Remake, which looks absolutely incredible. God, I can't wait for this game.
Yeah.
It looks so good, and. My other like, and I mean, there's a lot to like here as far as games go. I'll pick The Last of Us 2. Like, it's down between Spider-Man and Last of Us 2. But I'll go with The Last of Us 2 simply because, Naughty Dog went all out and said, we are going to have the first LGBTQ protagonist in a front and center in a game. And, aside from that fact, it just looks like a phenomenal game, like that dodge animation from Ellie.
Oh man!
And just an all-around spectacular looking game. I don't think anybody expected any less, but yeah, that's what I think about the Sony conference. If I had to limit it to just that.
How about you, Vin?
For me, the likes, I was really surprised and impressed by what Remedy brought to the show with Control. Mm-hmm. I thought that was just real damn good. And then I'm gonna avoid talking about the big four and say my other like is the surprise announcement of Neo 2. Yeah. I was not expecting that. I really enjoyed the first one, and I think in these days of no more true Souls games, stuff like this is gonna gain bigger traction. And I have a friend who is such a huge Neo fan that on my phone after the show had 17 messages of him just freaking out of joy over Neo 2. And I'm like, good for you, man. And I think my yikes is going to be just the 17th incomprehensible trailer for Death Stranding. Like, at least this one gave us in-game gameplay footage and kind of set the tone of this desolate, I got very Interstellar feels from it. But again, what do you do in this game? We still don't know. Yeah. And sure, it's not coming out for a couple more years, but man, would it kill you to give us something to work with? Your name only has so much cachet, Kojima.
I think he has unlimited cachet, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Unless this game flops.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So here's my thing about Death Stranding. You know that game, The Happy Few, Us Happy Few? Yeah. I feel like I'm the only one who's not taking the drugs when people talk about Death Stranding. Because people have this weird excitement about a game that, one, we just still don't know what it is. It seems like, this has never been done before. It's also not true. I do not see the clothes on the Emperor on this one, but we'll see. We'll see, I guess. But so my likes for Sony, I think the Resident Evil 2 remake, it's been hanging in the air for so long. A long time. And it made so many people so happy. That was really cool. I agree, John, it looks amazing, but the reveal, you didn't see much of that. I think I got most impressed when I saw gameplay elements, like shooting the limbs of the zombies and stuff.
I'll agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, but that was not in the trailer. That was all very, cinematic-y. But they played it out well. It looks better in the gameplay than I think in the trailer that they showed. Another Last was just looks fantastic. So there was. I just can't wait for that game. It's gonna be very, very good. My yikes, obviously the weird intermission. They tried to play to the crowd there, and then it didn't work for TV. The other way around, like, I don't know why they chose. Like, there was no reason for them to do this. They could have had the pre-party in the tent and then have people move to the theater where they were going to have it, and then people would have recognized it. Hey, we were just there. I don't know why they did that.
Or they could, or they could have just not done it.
Yeah.
Period.
So bad. I still don't really understand it.
The thing is, WoW, like, if not for that, I think Sony might have had a stronger overall conference than Microsoft.
Yeah, so I think they had a very strong lineup because IP is king nowadays. I think new IP is king. But as a show, it was just not very pleasant to watch, and that's kind of what I want from my E3. To like give me a show. But overall, like they had a very strong lineup. Like Spider-Man, fine. I think it's going to be amazing, but I didn't need to see that. Ghost of Tsushima, I really loved that one scene where they do the one-on-one battle. But
with the flowers?
Yeah, but for the rest, honestly, guys, it does not seem to be super groundbreaking. Sneaking around, tagging enemies, doing like I got a lot of.
It looked kind of like Bushido Blade to me, actually.
I got very strong Bushido Blade vibes, especially because no one had health bars.
Yeah,
fair.
It seemed like one quality time strike would take them out.
Yeah, but it had so many things. Like that first fight, it's like a one-hit kill, and it's very cinematic. And then the next enemy, he slashes away until he withers him down, and then the third one, he cuts an arm off.
I did notice that, yeah.
And then, so I think this was a very controlled demo, and I'm not sure how this is going to translate into the actual game. And then all of a sudden, you have a grappling hook later on. I was like, it was all over the place, the gameplay.
Apparently, WoW, that was a side quest.
Okay. Yeah, it looked kind of side quest,
so,
I guess.
Yeah, who knows if I don't know. Like, which makes it even weirder, though, right? Like, because if it's a side quest, it's not a very good representation of the actual core game.
But so, I just have a weird feeling about this game, like the gameplay wise. Like, you have cinematic combat, super cinematic combat, 1v1 with like that looks fantastic. Then he stabs the guy through the screen, which is incredibly scripted. But right before that, you go on a roof with a grappling hook, tag enemies, and have like an animated takedown. I have no idea how this game is going to play, so we'll see for that. But overall, like Sony on new IPs, absolutely killing it. So I can't fault them for that, but just a bad show overall. Too bad. But I think Sony is suffering from end of life cycle.
I also think it's a little bit of that arrogance too.
Yeah,
I think it's less arrogance and more they only had this stuff to show, and so they built this entire show around those to kind of distract from the fact that it's the same 4 games again.
Yeah, but if they didn't play it down so hard before the show, then it wouldn't even have mattered. Like, I don't think people would have noticed. Compared to Xbox, maybe, yeah. But they also had a very, very cool PSX a couple of months before, so I don't think, like, once this stuff is out, The Last was still no release date. Tsushima, still no release date.
I think we'll get those at PSX.
We'll see, yeah. I guess that makes sense.
So, I guess this is a big we'll see. But, I have the machine. All I have to do is wait for the games to come out. It didn't need to sell me. I wonder how this press conference worked if you are not already on the platform.
Probably not well.
No, exactly.
Actually, I mean, anecdotally, I've seen several people say that the Spider-Man and Last of Us trailers sold them.
Yeah.
On actually getting a PlayStation.
Yeah, and I think that is also fair. I think if they would have ended with like, and we're working on the PS5, then people would have kind of backed off from that as well, just like Xbox is. So speaking of disappointment, Nintendo, the last show.
Yeah.
I'll take this out first. I like that so many people like Smash Bros. Yay for them.
Yeah.
But I think even for the biggest Smash fan, that was a lot of information just to listen to. Like, really? We're going to go over all 66 characters? Anyway, still very excited for people who love Smash. Another like and I'm really digging here. Star Fox Link? I don't know. Starlink, yeah, with Star Fox. And here's my yikes, man. I had a very strong flashback to because I just bought my Switch, to when I just bought my Wii U, because I see the one game that I am not super interested in, and nothing else. And if I would only have Nintendo, maybe not a big deal, because they do have a lot of smaller titles to keep you at least playing the damn thing. But there is nothing right now that draws me specifically to the Switch unless it's for playing on the fly. I know when I'm done with Rabbids, I don't think I'll pick this thing up anytime soon unless I'm on a plane or in a hotel room. So that's my yikes right there. But I wonder how some of the more Switch enthusiasts think about this. How about you, John?
I don't think it was the strongest conference, but I don't think it was the weakest one either. Mm-hmm. But I also think that's because of a lot of people's just kind of overinflated sense of what this was going to be. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. We've been hearing for some time that Nintendo doesn't really view E3 as the end-all, be-all of announcing games anymore. I mean, they've got all year. I mean, we get a direct every few months. Mm-hmm. And of course, I know. Let's just say, people like Liam Robertson is one. I'll give him a little something. He'll give me a little something. I knew that about the day before going into the direct not to expect the world. Yeah. We didn't get the world, and because of that, I was just like, okay, this is fine. Mm-hmm. I love Smash Brothers. I mean, it's my favorite fighting game. It's one of my favorite franchises. So I was happy with it. I love Fire Emblem, mm-hmm. So I was happy to see that. I was disappointed in no Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, which I know exists, but then again, I knew that wasn't going to be there. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of this is due to people expecting Nintendo to throw the kitchen sink, like they did last, with Metroid Prime 4 reveal, and stuff like that. It just wasn't going to happen this year. No, it was never going to happen.
No, I think that's why people hated it, because they ended the show last year with the Metro, the Prime 4 logo, and then nothing this year. That's a little odd.
I think that's mostly because we're definitely going to get a Metroid-focused direct soon.
Fair enough, yeah.
I think so, too, yeah. Well, and the other thing is I know for a fact, and there are several very respected insiders on Era who have said this exact same thing. There are things that Nintendo was going to announce or have to announce that they chose not to, mm-hmm. For whatever reason. And it's been speculated by many of these people who are in the know that it's so that they'll have stuff to populate their directs for later this summer and September and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So there are other games that are coming to the Switch. There are other things that Nintendo has. Very interesting things from what I hear that Nintendo has to announce. They just, for whatever reason, chose not to do that at E3 this year.
Nintendo's gonna Nintendo.
They will,
and it always works. So who knows? How about you, Finn?
My is seeing that brand new console Fire Emblem game, just looking real good. Not a Fire Emblem spin-off, mm-hmm. but a true Fire Emblem game, not on a 3DS.
Did you notice how when it pans down to the battles now, there's like a whole bunch of troops around them to really into that era if you're in a battle?
Now, I don't know if that's like a new mechanic, like a troop system or something. Like that'll be really interesting to see if it's just visually and aesthetic to show battles feel more like war, or if it's going to be a new mechanic where you have to worry about your troops as well.
Yeah, I'm getting interested in a Fire Emblem game. I never played one before other than a mobile one. So.
Oh, they're good.
They're very good.
Oh, yeah.
My other is Ridley and Smash, because as someone who's been playing Smash since the start, I've always wanted more representation of Metroid, and Ridley was always one of those that people begged and begged for, but were told it couldn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Because Ridley was too big.
Yeah, he was too big. It was too big, and so I'm just really happy they finally managed to bring him in. I hope we get new character reveals, because I think Smash only having 2 new people on top of all the returners kind of hurts it. Like, I'm shocked we didn't get a character from ARMS.
I'm shocked we didn't get it. Yeah, there's no Springman. Finn, there was no Rex.
Yeah.
From
I
Zelda
really
Chronicles 2, yeah.
there's got to be more character reveals coming.
You know what? Honestly, I think those are going to be like DLC characters down the line.
And I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine. So those are my 2 likes, and my yikes will just be what we talked about. I mean, it was less an E3 conference and more Smash Direct with some special guests beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, and then special shout out to that awesome looking fucking mech combat game that started off the show.
Yeah, that looked okay.
I love
Damon
stuff.
X Machina.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I'm a sucker for it.
So I have a question about Ridley. Like, why is that character so popular?
Because it's Samus's it's Samus's basically arch villain.
Arch nemesis, right?
Yeah, like, Mother Brain might be the big bad, but Samus is the big. I mean,
Samus is the Boba Fett to Han Solo for Samus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the one that always pops up. It's the more iconic one, and it also had the most memorable fight in the latest 3DS game.
Okay.
Oh, that fight was great.
So Ridley is the Samus, what like Boba Fett is to Star Wars.
I think Ridley has been the final boss in more Metroid games than any other enemy, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, yeah, I think so. Especially when you count the Prime games.
Yeah.
Oh, I just think that Smash is snubbing all the Super Mario Bros. 2 characters. Like, where's Mauser? Where is Wart?
Where's
Birdo?
Birdo. I was just gonna say Birdo.
Yeah.
You think Birdo at least, because Birdo's been in so many other of the Mario-esque games.
What about King Cruel? Where's King Cruel?
Actually, that's another one. Like, when are we getting King K. Rool? Come on.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a DLC one.
Is it King Rule or Cruel?
I think it's the play is that it spells cruel, but it's like King K. Rool.
Yeah.
Or Karul,
Yeah.
but I mean, either way, I don't know where that character is, and he needs to be there, or Wart or something, you know.
Yeah, that would be cool. But like you guys said, it's probably going to be DLC, amiibo, sales pitch right there. But I'm gonna buy Smash because I've never really gotten into Smash. I played it on the Wii once, but like connectivity was such a problem. Back then.
So good.
So I will probably get it. See if I like it. We'll see. But if I have enough friends online to play with, it will probably be different.
Speaking of amiibos, do you think Nintendo's going to try and resell every single Smash amiibos as a Smash Ultimate amiibo?
Probably. All I know is I want to buy Ryu. I want to buy Cloud, and
Well, those already exist.
yeah, I
Go for
know.
it.
But I'm going to buy those immediately, even though I don't need them. So that was the big shows. Overall, I think it was a good week for video games with what we've been seeing. I think we do feel a little bit the lull before the new console cycle, and I think it's coming quicker than they want us to believe. I'm still counting on 2019 reveals, like PSX 2019. I think they're gonna go all out on the PS5. Not sure when Xbox is going to come out of the gate. I think they want to go first. I would not be surprised if Xbox 2019 E3 is going to have a hardware show. But
I think both will. Absolutely both will. Yeah.
But I don't think they're coming out until
2020. Yep.
yeah, November 2020. But Finn, you went to the show, so I want to give you the floor for a couple of minutes because it was your first E3. I kind of want to hear your experiences and like especially when people are listening and maybe they've always wanted to go to E3. Like, what is it like to be there as press?
All right. Well, one thing that I've realized from listening to people is that compared to last year, this year having the press hours was a godsend.
Yeah.
Because the second the floor opened to the general populace, if you didn't have appointments, that was a wrap.
Yeah.
You weren't doing anything else, and I think that's one of the things that I really enjoyed the most was outside of all the playing the games, but meeting all the wonderful people that are associated with the games, and just seeing all the passion everyone had for all of their stuff was phenomenal. But right off the bat, my two greatest experiences, both with hands-on and hands-off. The hands-on Spider-Man was the best experience of the show in terms of true demos that stole the crown for me right off the bat. But hands-off, Cyberpunk was the game to beat. That was...
I can't believe I did not talk about Cyberpunk in any of this.
Well, because in conferences, all we had was like a kind of confusing trailer that we couldn't get much out of. And I remember when they announced the first-person aesthetic, I was at first like really upset and bummed and let down. Like, I didn't want a first-person game. I wanted sci-fi, cyberpunk, Witcher, and whatever. But then I saw it in action, and I've never ate crow faster. And I did a full 180, and now I'm 100% Team Cyberpunk. It's insane. But in terms of the show as a whole, it was overwhelming in a good way. Mm-hmm. I thrive in those environments. I like that kind of stuff. Just being surrounded by people and talking, and even when you're waiting in line, it's like at Disney World. You just strike up a conversation. You never know who you're in line with. Mm-hmm. You just meet some great people. The events afterwards and the E3 Coliseum that Jeff Keighley set up was really cool. Microsoft being in a separate... That was one thing I didn't like, was how spread out everything was. Because it can no longer be contained in just the convention center. So if you had something in West Hall versus South Hall, that's a 5 to 10 minute journey. And then if you wanted to go play some indie games, you had to go to like the Devolver lot, which was across the street. Yeah. And then another indie company, Good Shepherd Entertainment, had their own lot across the street. And then Microsoft took all their games and put it in their own building, which was another 10-minute walk. Yeah. So everything was very spread out. But if you made a game plan ahead of time, it was completely manageable and a lot of fun. And seeing everyone's just experiences with all the stuff they played, everyone had a different take on everything, but everyone seemed in very good spirits. I didn't run into any people that were just like assholes or anything like that. Everyone was just there to have a good time. And even the journalists that were overworked and overtired and scrambling to hit deadlines, they were just having a good time as well.
Oh, Finn, did you say scrambling?
Scrambling.
Yes.
Okay.
Scrambling. And I saw you handed over a sake to a very special person.
Yes. If that was the one thing I really wanted to do. We kind of beta tested it at PAX East, which was having the Sons of Sake be kind of an iconic gift to give out to people.
Before you go, I think we have to clarify for people who do not know what sake is. So if you want to give them the whole story.
Sake is an ancient eldritch being that Finn awoke. Dark ritual on All Hallows Eve, and he demanded that the Night Cervix open up and deliver sake to us, and now here we are.
The other explanation is that sake is the begrudging mascot of our podcast that John will never admit, but it's a sock puppet with googly eyes, and so we decided to create other sock puppets with googly eyes and call them the Sons of Sake or Daughters of Sake. It's up to you. And give them out as awards. Like other outlets would give these little stickers that go up on the booth saying, best of show, our pick, nominee. Mm-hmm. And instead of that, we bestowed socks. And it went over extremely well. And I ran into Corey Balrog from Barlog. I always mix that up. Balrog, and the other one is from Lord of the Rings.
Corey Balrog.
We ran into him on the show floor, and even though he had already shipped his game, I had a message from the original Saki, which was she wanted me to tell him how much the game meant to her. And he took the sock, demanded to take a picture with his own phone because he wanted to share it, proceeded to share it, and took a picture of his own home office, sitting next to it, and when he gets back to work, he's going to put it in the trophy case at Santa Monica Studios, which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And then
it's pretty incredible.
And then Remedy was another studio that lost their mind at this over Control, which I gave it to them after I saw their demo for Control. I gave it to two of the people that worked on the game from Remedy, and then later on I see it's made it into the hand of Sam Lake from Remedy, taking pictures of, and they're sharing it among all their members and how much the sock meant to them. And I'm like, damn, all right. And then I have a picture of Tom Ole
PR,
from PR, who works with CD Projekt Red, and we gave them a sock, and he said, I don't know how we're going to do this, because their wall was filled, but they went and found a way and pinned it to the wall. So Saki's just sitting there pinned to their booth, and it was amazing. 10 socks arrived to 10 lucky recipients. Reed Albers from the ESA got one because it was him that helped us get our first shot at E3, the SDGC. Matt Piscatella from the NPD group got his first sake because he's been one of the biggest fans. Wow, you yourself have one.
Sake, yeah.
You actually have the distinction, the first ever
Sake, yes.
So
I have this image of Finn at E3, kind of like Molaram from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when he's making Indy drink the blood of the Kali, and he's like, "Swoon Kali Ma."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because you always preface it. You don't just whip out a sock and be like, "This is."
Well, sometimes you do.
You have to. I always like. I set the stage. I built it up. I was like, "Look, the show I'm with, my outlet, our mascot is a sock with Google guys." I would show them the picture of Saki, and they would laugh. They'd be like, "That okay?" And I'm like, and in lieu of a sticker or something, I wanted to give this to you as our proof that you are one of our favorite things at E3. And they would always lose their mind. And it was such a great feeling. I had someone say that it was the most unique award they'd ever.
That was Corey Barlog, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was the most unique thing he had ever been given for his games. And that's just a good feeling. And I like that. And it makes us memorable.
Yeah.
If I ever run into these people again, I'm going to be the sock puppet guy. And I'm okay. That's a good thing. I'm okay with that. I'd rather be known as the guy that gives out sock puppets than the guy that got drunk and fought someone at an after party.
Exactly.
Well, that's also a good thing, too, though.
It depends who you fight, yeah.
Yeah. But if you're fighting Yui Bowl, that's fine.
Yeah, then you'll be a hero.
Yeah.
But it's just E3's Magic Climbs, right? So that's great. I'm so happy you had a good experience because I was so sad that I couldn't be there. But seeing your pictures there with everybody, with Reed, that just warms my heart. Friend of the show, Reed, good guy.
Reed is a good guy.
Reed is just.
Reed is a man. In fact, we're gonna go have some beers here soon because Reed lives pretty close to me.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Well, that's awesome. I think that kind of wraps up E3 2018. There's plenty to discuss once the games come trickling in, and we'll have Gamescom before you know it, and the Paris Game Show, all those things. So it's a good year for games. I think with everything we've seen, with everything that's already launched, and with everything to come, it's a good time to enjoy video games.
I would agree with you. That is an accurate statement.
Yeah. So, as always, I'm going to end the show with a podcast and shill. But since I have two guys from the same podcast, I hope you get a little creative with this. Because, or unless you want to both shill for your own show. But, John, podcast and shill, what do you want? Who are you? Where can we find you? And what do you want to shill for?
So I am the Crap Gamer, the most compelling, controversial, game-related YouTuber. I'm just kidding.
Come on.
No, you can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/official SDGC. We archive all our podcasts on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Deformed Gamescast. And next week, Mike Huber, friend from Easy Allies, will be on for the fourth time. He's been on our podcast 4 times now to talk about E3.
That is awesome.
I'm really excited for that because we actually got to be on the Huber Syndrome very briefly.
You got to tell me how that went, by the way.
It went really well. He's a great dude, and he just, he's one of those guys that's all about really optimistic and just enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. And so it was a delight just talking about what we liked rather than what we didn't like.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be surprised to see what lands on the show. I was on Uber Cineroms and I felt like an idiot when I was like, why the hell did I say that? And he just cut out the good part, and that's what made it in the show. So he's a very gentle editor as well. But that's awesome. Finn, anything you want to add or you want to shill for yourself, and where can we find you?
I am also a member of the SDGC podcast, but I also run my own on the side. It's a comic book focused podcast we also talk games pretty heavily, but it's called the NOLA Nerdcast because from New Orleans, Louisiana, and we're every Wednesday. And that it kind of gets my blood going for the podcasting so that I can bring my A game on Thursday with the other guys. But yeah, I love what I do, and I love the people I do it with. So John's kind of a good guy.
Awesome. Well, and I am the Hashtagonist, and you can find me on Twitter at the Hashtagonist. And if you found this through some of the weird channels that I don't know that I'm on, like iTunes or Google Play, you can also support me on patreon.com/thehashtagonist. And I'm going to shill for my next episode because I have a couple of super cool guests. And unless something really goes wrong, you can tune in next week where I'll have Brendan Jones of the Easy Allies and Mikey Newman from Movies with Mikey. And it's going to be an amazing show.
That's going to be a good one.
Talk about the things we love. So hopefully you'll come back next week for that. Unless they cancel me, then I'm going to look like an ass. But that's fine. Everybody, thank you so much for coming in tonight and talk about E3. The magic is gone, but the news will continue. And if you're still listening, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and stuff to podcasts that are actually good, like the Super Deformed Gamescast. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, bye.